you look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair?
Oh, the hair.
I don't know. We're going to have to do something for you.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I know.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. Watch this. Can everybody float around for us? That was really cool, Chris. Look at her.
That is so cool.
Look at her.
That is so cool.
I think Sandy's hair is pretty much a dead giveaway. There's a pose for you right there. Yeah, no problem. I think we can do that, right?
That is the first. Then, you know, they make all these turns. And Scott Kelly, or Scott Kelly brother, because I can't identify, he got stuck. And he can, you know, flip again to a regular position. Because I believe that up in the ceiling, they have some kind of mess in terms of wire that they can't go back to the regular position. So that this guy start to being stuck in the arms, so they can move the arm, and he needs to go down, because here we have 5 people. So let me just take a few moments to explain what I believe is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy needs to go down to unwire himself before start moving.
Not as graceful
and
as
he do some kind of things with the hands.
they could have been.
Then
that's why we usually hesitate.
This guy comes through the camera trying to, distract the rest of the picture.
But it's certainly fun to do.
But this guy and this other guy, they are like stuck together. So
at least
they are start moving in the background.
Having some fun up there. You're not going to the Olympics with that. Keep the day jobs, guys, or night jobs on this mission.
So the red guy is going to, stop the movement of the other, and you can see the face right now. But we're going to continue. So he's going to move the arms, trying to, get the rest position. Like that. Why he moved
our night jobs on this mission?
The arms like that. Okay. But Scott Kelly, or the brother, he still are upside down and high, and he can't, go back into the rest position. So he's still, and here is gonna come one of the most, historic errors up there, because this guy, which identify the problem, he gives like a warning sign to the operators, trying to tell, hey man, it's all control. I see the problem. Let me just push the button, and he's gonna make this hand movement like that, saying, okay, I see what is happening. So they're going to go off screen, and he gonna extend the left arm and press something. But this time, because the microphone is still open, you're gonna hear it, and not just hear it, the sound. You're gonna see the cloth doing 2 movements in straight angles. And you can see here. Why the cloth behave like that? Just in the same time that this guy pressed something out the screen, and you can hear the system being released and the cable moving the cloth.
Yeah, Miles, and I'll send you one of these bracelets.
I would like one. Thank you.
And they, start scratch himself, touching the skin and things like that.
All of you very much. Appreciate your time. I know you got a busy.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your looping. It is very helpful, because my grandchildren, they always say they are not really in space. It's all organized in NASA Hollywood.
Is there anything you can do to prove to us right now that you're actually in space? I mean, do some kind of floaty astronaut trick or something for us?
Yeah. So, yeah. There's absolutely no strings attached to Mike, as far as I know.
You can't even have to warn the kids, don't try this at home, because there's no way they could try that at home. We're about out of time here. We got just about 30 seconds left of KU. We really appreciate you spending time with us at, cutting into your pre-sleep time. So in the last couple seconds, though, you've done a great job of describing things. We obviously have people in space. The space program is by no means over. Can you just finish some more astronaut tricks to prove again that you are actually in space?
This is from the 2006. You can clearly see that the green screen computation is not the same in our days, so that you have this guy totally red without, all the border of the image is being pixelated. You can clearly see, if you are a guy who comes from the computer graphic industry, you immediately going to detect that this is a bad chroma key or a good chroma key at that time. But in our days, you can clearly see how the motion blurs and everything else is just, it's totally
crap.
It's totally crap. Exactly. This is a little gravity pocket.
And again, all these scientists that we're seeing, all these astronauts that we're seeing, I mean, if you've ever heard any of them interviewed, they're all idiots. They
totally idiots.
They can't talk. They can't tell you about experiments that they're doing. They make mistakes. This should be the cream of the crop. NASA says it hires 1 out of 4,000 applicants. Give me a break.
Exactly. You see the new videos that they trying to normalize this kind of error when the object drop down,
right,
and they call gravity pocket. Do you see that?
I see it drop down. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy have a hammer in the hand and a card in the other hand. If you go here and put gravity pocket, this is the way that NASA trying to normalize to the people they mistake. So they tell that supposedly if you see an object falling down so quickly that it's like being here on Earth, is because it took a gravity pocket. I mean, but the problem is that they don't talk about the upside gravity pocket, because here, of course, the object going down into a gravity pocket. But sometimes they have objects that go really up. So what is that? Is anti-gravity pocket? I mean,
yep.
It's a black hole pocket. They are so, you can see a lot of objects that's not just falling down. Here you can see little movement in little objects that are hanging the cables of this object. Because when the robot go down, and this is from Japanese agency, you're going to see here on the roof little pieces that moves. For example, why all these object moves if the robot is floating on the air? Why these tiny objects,
the ones at the top are even more telling. Yep.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe a huge gravity pocket.
I think that's a gravity wave.
That's just a gravity wave detection. Yeah, I believe that. This is amazing that the guy is turning and I can't. Okay, this is just a compilation. But like you said before, if you go back in time a little bit, you can see how, at the 60s and 70s, the people believed that this could be real. Of course, if you show this to a young boy who plays PlayStation 4, if the child is going to laugh in your face.
Right.
But we used to be that
we
child.
We believed it. We knew nothing.
Time.
We knew nothing more better. Yeah, we knew nothing else but to think it was real.
Exactly. But when you start to make the comparison, years, when you start to compare from the beginnings to our and what happened,
Now, do you
why
think? Let me ask
you
you
never
about.
See the aurora borealis, and
Right, they never showed that before.
Yeah, and now, wow, look at
that.
Merry Christmas, man.
Now, some of the ISS footage that we see now, you're in the same camp as me, right? That you think it is mostly real footage, but just post-processed?
Totally. In fact, you can take from drones, and NASA have that, drones, planes, or balloon. You just record a portion of the Earth, and then you make a mosaic.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a big map, you just mapping into a sphere. It's not, I made so many times. You must be see here in this background monitor, the astronaut is in front of the camera. Look how the astronaut go into the front of the camera, rise up the right arm, push something, which is the Argo system, and then you're gonna see the reaction into the body. Ready for the event. They push the button, go back, and the cables are up. I mean, and they take the microphone, and I'm going to accelerate the image, and all the time you're gonna see how it goes up constantly. Every movement that he make, they go up and touch something, make the turns, go with the arm, and all the time, this is 50 minutes accelerated, and all the time the same arm and the same part of the image. Why he goes so many times pushing something here? All the astronauts are all part of Freemasonry, but with credentials, without even hiding. What you make think that the modern astronauts, they are not in the same institutions?
Yeah, it's all new guys now, so they must not be in the same fraternities or whatever.